It is the last ever Solid Signal podcast for February 2015. You see what I did there? It's not really the last Solid Signal podcast ever, just the last one in February 2015. I'm just kind of feeling a little bit playful today, and I thought I'd scare you for just a fraction of a second. Thanks for bearing with me. This past week, there was a little incident at DIRECTV, and I wanted to talk about it in a positive way, even though I know in a lot of cases there are some folks who would like to completely forget it. I think that there's something to be learned here, and it's worth talking about. For a short period last week, DIRECTV's DIRECTV 10 satellite stopped broadcasting. DIRECTV 10 was launched about 7 years ago, and it was the first of a series of gigantic satellites designed to provide up to 100 channels of high-definition content to local and national sources. DIRECTV 10 was unfortunately a little problematic from the very beginning. Even during the testing phases before it went live, it was clear that it was not going to be able to fulfill its complete operational mission in the way it was intended. However, these satellites are so overbuilt that it was still able to do an awful lot and really didn't leave anything on the table except for some what they call redundancies, spare parts, if you will. The DIRECTV 10 satellite started adding HD channels almost as soon as it was launched, and DIRECTV very quickly went from having about 6 national channels to having about 100, thanks to this satellite. This satellite has been working hard, but as I said, it did have some sort of operational challenge before it even went into service, and it's been using fuel at a little bit faster rate than it was intended. Let me back up a little here and say that even though the electronics on a satellite work from solar power, the maneuvering jets do work on solid fuel. So if you run out of that, you're pretty much done. Not only that, you have to make sure you have enough to get the satellite into a safe orbit before it completely loses control. We all thought for a short while that it might have been the end of DIRECTV 10 as DIRECTV engineers scrambled to deal with the problem from the ground, and this is where the story gets really interesting. Up until now, it's all sounded fairly negative, but I would like to put the word out about DIRECTV's broadcast engineers. I don't know anybody else who could change a tire from 22,000 miles away. Now, they didn't exactly change a tire, but that's kind of what they did. They actually repaired a huge robotic spacecraft right from the ground. And they managed to get the DIRECTV 10 satellite back up and running by the next morning. And I'll be honest with you, I still don't know how they did it. It's an amazing feat, and it shows that DIRECTV's broadcast engineers, along with their partners from Boeing, who built this satellite, really put the time in to make sure that this device, this spacecraft, will continue to function in a wide variety of scenarios, even when us regular people thought that it was pretty much the end. It also shows how flexible DIRECTV's engineering staff can be and how quickly, since they were able to move a lot of those missing HD channels to the DIRECTV 14 satellite, which is still undergoing testing, hasn't even gone live yet. And most people didn't even know there was an outage. For those people who did know there was an outage, DIRECTV was also able to show them, thanks to a tutorial available at the Solid Signal blog and other places, how to watch standard definition channels temporarily while the problem was being worked on. That means that absolutely nobody lost content. Yeah, you had to watch standard definition for a little while, and that kind of sucked. But there's a lot worse things in life. And as I'd like to stress again, absolutely nobody lost content. There were a few of my fellow bloggers who took the opportunity to kick DIRECTV while it was down, since it was the day that DIRECTV also announced its financials and also made Watch ABC authentication available to its customers and was having a great day otherwise. And there were a few people who put in negative comments about this failure, temporary though it was. I'd just like to say to all of you guys, I guess the joke's on you, since DIRECTV managed to solve the problem far faster than you probably ever could have. In my close to decade-long association with DIRECTV, in which I have been blogging about them, I have been accused of being a shill, a patsy, a lackey. I've been accused of being in DIRECTV's pocket, but let me tell you something. I don't report facts about DIRECTV unless I know they're facts. And the real fact is that there were skilled people working heroically to make sure that just regular folks like us had those HD channels back practically before we knew they were gone. That's the real story here, and I would like to just give one more shout out, just one more time, to the hardworking folks at DIRECTV's broadcast centers throughout the country, as well as Boeing engineers, for making this a non-event. Congratulations.